we are the strategists, and since we work with our students and we know our students really well, if I see a topic proposed before my student and I say, that doesn't really fit the profile, I don't want her to talk about, the championship that she won last year, but instead I want her to talk about something else, I might not approve the topics.
Good evening, families. We are pleased to have you join us for our virtual parent series for the 2020-21 school year, excuse me. To kick off our new school year, one that is like none other, we thought it would be beneficial to host a session on anxiety and some of the ways anxiety presents itself, specifically with the return to school. Tonight, we'd like to welcome our very own nurse, Holly, who is streaming live from her basement, to present to us tonight on what we need to know about anxiety and how us as families and caregivers can support our children through the return to school process.
Thank you, Mrs. Weaver. Thank you for joining me tonight. I've put myself in a position where I'm feeling a little anxious, so I hope you can all bear with me if I stumble and fumble, and I hope you find tonight's presentation informative and helpful. I'd like to start out tonight with a poem that has been my favorite for a very long time. It's from the book Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein, and it's called Sick. So I'm going to read it to you. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox, and there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankle sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent, my spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk, I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail, and my heart is, what? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play. So as you heard, Peggy Ann sure can come up with some good excuses to stay home from school. As a mom and a school nurse, I've heard most of these excuses and complaints many times. My daughter once told me that her spleen hurt, and my son once said that he was having a stroke and couldn't go to school. So while extreme excuses can be comical at times, persistent complaints of illness related to school attendance or avoidance could be a signal of anxiety in a child. So as you can see, anxiety impacts up to 30% of children. Close to half of them don't receive treatment for that anxiety, and gone untreated or even treated but not well enough, that anxiety can present as missing a lot of school, coming into school late because the kids are having a hard time getting up and getting themselves ready and out the door, or frequent visits to the nurse for various complaints like headaches and stomach aches. Kids can develop fears and anxiety over many situations, and they can be real or imagined. Common worries kids have are death of a loved one, germs, vomiting, and different social situations. Without tools to cope with these feelings, the kids are left kind of just in a state of constant panic and meltdown. It leads to tantrums and tears. Parents are left to kind of clean up the mess of a meltdown, things like that. And like I said previously, when these kids are in school, they often end up in the nurse's office and they have complaints of stomach aches, headaches, other non-specific complaints with no real clinical symptoms to support their complaints. Often just wanting to be in a safe space, lay down, or eventually in the hopes of being sent home. Many different things can cause anxiety. There's all different levels of anxiety. I think we all have felt situations in our lives where we've been anxious and kind of wanted to escape. And as adults, we're able to rationalize those feelings and get through situations. Not always the same with kids. So when kids have anxiety and they're not attending school regularly, they're missing out on their education. And attendance is a key piece that the school nurses look at and work with parents, students, and the school. Children with anxiety miss an average of 27 days per school year, as opposed to kids without anxiety who miss about 11 days. School avoidance affects 2 to 5% of children, and some of the things we can do to help is a regular sleep schedule, getting everything ready for school the night before so the kids, know that everything's laid out and prepared. They won't have that panic in the morning where I can't find my homework, I don't know where my glasses are, I need my library book today, things like that. Everything's laid out. They have that comfort measure knowing everything's ready for them in the morning. And then, of course, if, you're still not having any luck at, getting your kids to school on a regular basis or to school on time, you can always reach out to the school for help. The return to school after a typical routine-free summer can cause parents and children to feel a little anxious. Children look to their parents for cues on how to react to situations. So the more calm and positive you can be regarding the beginning of the school year, the more relaxed your child will be. This transition back to the physical classroom may be even harder this year after the prolonged closure of most schools and the need to educate virtually, even still now. When children express concerns or anxiety, take the time to listen and support them. Your child may not want you to fix their fear or their worry. They may just want you to be a sounding board and listen to them. And even if your child's fears seem silly to you, just listening and validating their feelings can help some of their fears that they're feeling. It's scary for a 5 or 6 year old to be walking into school all by themselves. I know, I just think back and remember the panic going from like middle school to high school. You're the big guy at the top of the food chain, and then you go into high school and you're at the bottom again. Sometimes you walk into school and your best friend from last year's gone, they moved. So there are many things that the kids worry about, whether they're real or perceived fears. They need the validation that it's okay to feel that way. Just like there are different types of anxiety, there are many different symptoms and presentations of anxiety. So this list is not exhaustive of feelings that provoke anxiety or behaviors that stem from anxiety, but these are some of the most common symptoms and then behaviors. Symptoms must be persistent and present for an extended period of time to be considered problematic. Sometimes it's easier to pinpoint an event that caused the behavior as a result of anxiety. Other times we may wonder what happened to cause the event. Kids sometimes come home from school angry over a fight with a friend, or they didn't have anywhere to sit at lunch, things like that they may not, again, they don't know how to process these feelings and sort of name them. So they kind of bubble up and explode in anger. And we've all been at the brunt end of an angry child who takes it out on us when we really had nothing to do with what happened. So again, just to further go into those feelings, when kids can't process the feelings, they're coming out in all different forms. In addition to anger, sleep issues, and defiance, children may regress in some ways It could be bedwetting, baby talk, not wanting to sleep alone. And this might remind, the kids of a time when they felt safe or soothed, and they can't replicate that feeling right now. When possible, it's always best to ignore these kind of regressive behaviors and praise your kids for acting appropriately. So for example, if your child has regressed to baby talk, when they're talking like a baby, you could sort of do some active ignoring of that particular moment. And then when they speak to you appropriately in their big kid voice, you can kind of say, thank you for, using your big kid voice. We can go to the store now, or, you can have your snack now, whatever the situation was. Some more things you can do, if you find that your kids are displaying symptoms of anger or insecurity, things like that, anxiety, is do some things to reconnect with your kids more. You can go outside and throw a ball, play a sport, maybe go for a walk if you have a pet, take your dog for a walk. Try out some yoga or any sort of, kind of team or partner sport that you could find to do. And then introducing coping skills can help children feel less anxious, and they'll tend to leave those regressive behaviors behind once they start to feel more secure. When your child's dealing with anxiety, there's many options to have handy to assist your child with their feelings. And I call it an anxiety toolbox. The goal of the toolbox is to assist with the regulation of the body, thoughts, and emotions. Coping skills are used to control emotions and feelings associated with anxiety, and they're important for all ages. Mindfulness is helpful to focus on the moment rather than a potential worry. A Stanford University study found that after 8 weeks of mindfulness, children in grades 4 through 6 had decreases in anxiety and improvements in attention. The children were also better prepared to handle their emotions and chose their behavior regarding daily challenges better versus some of the behaviors we saw on the past slide, anger, outbursts, things like that. When you look into breathing exercises for relaxation, one of the common, really easy breathing exercises to do is just it's a 4-6 motion. So you want to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, and then you want to exhale for a count of 6. So that's really, really easy and quick to kind of implement in any sort of situation to kind of help get a hold of your breathing and calm down. Guided imagery is used in combination with mindfulness and breathing exercises or on its own to provide sort of a mental escape. So children or adults, anyone, can picture a favorite activity or place and visualize that spot, incorporating their senses to include, sound, smell, taste, anything that you can associate with that image. Anxiety fidget toys come in a variety of options, and they can really be found anywhere, Amazon, Target, Walmart. Simple internet search, you can find tons of fidgets and anxiety toys. There's also many apps available to download to assist with anxiety. Aura, Calm. There's Anxiety Stress, which is an anti-stress, which is an anxiety relief game. Again, simple search of your app store. And again, while the internet can be overwhelming to find resources for anxiety, there are a few websites that are kind of vetted and good places to go for help. One of them is gozen.com, and that has free resources geared towards children. Sites of children's hospitals are also good places to go for information on anxiety. And then while you're there, if necessary, you can look for providers to help you. Temple University has a program called Coping Cat, which is geared towards children's anxiety. That's another one that's helpful. Some more things you can add to your toolbox. Again, some of these are actual physical things, and others are just things that you can do in the moment or have with you on your phone to take care of these feelings. Anxiety rings are found on Amazon, and they're rolled up and down each finger to promote calm and focus. Fingerholds are easy to perform. You could do it anywhere because you always have your hands with you. That's helpful. And what you want to do is you can hold each finger while breathing slowly. Each finger has a different sensation or association. So the thumb is related to sadness. The index finger, fear or panic. The middle finger is anger or rage, which is ironic. The ring finger is anxiety and nervousness. And the pinky is lack of self-esteem. So in this case, where we're talking about anxiety, it would be helpful, to just grasp your ring finger with your other hand, close your eyes for, a minute or two, and do that nice breathing, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. More information on Fingerholds can be found at a website called capacitar.org. And I do have all the references at the end of the presentation, and I can always email them out to anyone who's interested. Targeting feeling thermometer it can be physical, like a physical paper that you fill out, or it could just be like a mental check-in ask. So kids can rate the intensity of how they're feeling from 0 to 10. After they rate their feelings, they can talk about what can be done to reduce their feelings. Targeting thoughts goes along with the feelings thermometer, and it asks the kids, is this thought true? And then the second question is this thought helpful? So by asking these questions and thinking them through, a lot of times it helps the kids understand how their thoughts can influence their feelings. And we always try to gear the kids towards thoughts that are true and accurate to help them, calm down and get back to baseline. Some other things you could do for kids is just get them up and get them moving. So we could do jumping jacks. You can have a little dance party. Singing is a good one because not only is it getting out some nervous energy, but it's also helps you control your breathing. Blowing bubbles, again, you're controlling your breathing as you blow the bubbles out, and then the kids can run around and pop them. You could decrease frustration through manipulating clay or Play-Doh. You can make a calm down jar or a glitter jar. The instructions are easy to find online, and you basically just fill a mason jar with some glitter and some liquid, and the kids can shake it up, kind of watch the glitter fall. If anybody even has just a little timer from a game, a little sand timer, you can kind of flip that over again and again, sort of watch that, work on your breathing, kind of focus. Temperature change mostly works as a distraction. You could have your kids hold an ice cube, maybe go get a warm shower, take a cold bath, things like that, to just remove them from that heightened state that they're in and sort of bring them back to the moment. Mild forms of anxiety are normal, and they're part of our fight or flight response. If cavemen weren't a little anxious that a hungry animal was lurking around the corner, they risk becoming lunch for that animal. If I didn't feel anxious tonight, I probably wouldn't have prepared as well for this presentation, or given it the effort, or maybe run out the door like I'd like to right now. So when anxiety becomes too severe or it impairs daily life, there are professionals to help. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT as it's called, has been shown to be the most helpful, the most effective for treating anxiety in children. and cognitive behavioral therapists work with children and adults to use different levels, different techniques, like exposure therapies, to change the level of anxiety that the patient feels about the triggering event. For example, if your child has a fear of going to the mall, the behavior therapist might spend some time initially talking with your child about what goes on at the mall and why they don't want to go to the mall, and baby step through the process until your child's actually there at the mall and able to stay there for 10 minutes, and then next time you maybe go to 2 stores. So it's a little bit of a desensitization process that takes place through CBT. In addition to the cognitive behavioral therapy, there are many other options. There's art therapy, traditional talk therapy, and music therapy. So those are a few options also that can help with anxiety. As far as resources around us, there's always your school-based assistants. We have nurses, counselors, behaviorists, and mental health professionals at AGCS, and we all work together to support our students. Your child's pediatrician could refer you to a local provider, or your insurance company also could refer you. You could either go on their website or call the phone number on the back of your insurance card. Local resource, which is really nice, is A Path to Hope. And this was created by a nurse, and it lists all not all, but many contacts in the Chester County area for assistance, all different kinds of therapies. Like I said, art therapy, music therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Also links to insurance companies and local hospitals can be found on there if you're not sure how to find your insurance company's providers. As always, if you felt like your child was in danger, we would certainly ask that you seek emergency help either through your local emergency department, or Valley Creek Crisis Center is a local resource also. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation. I think I talked really fast. I'm sorry, but I hope you found it helpful. If you recognize signs of anxiety in your child or children, and it's impacting school attendance or other social situations, please reach out to your child's team here at school. An anxiety toolbox is easy to create and implement at home. And it's something that you can have with you anywhere, because it's not just physical things. It's the hands at the end of your wrist. They're always with you to kind of do a quick implementation of breathing exercises or finger holding. Introducing coping skills to children increases their resilience, and it allows them to recognize and handle uncomfortable situations and emotions. Additionally, for right now, for back to school, starting a back to school routine now and talking about how the school day will go, both at home and when we return to the building, will help your kids be less worried about the upcoming school year. I know a lot of kids, unfortunately, just through everyday exposure to the news and rumors, are worried about germs and the cleanliness of the school. Feel free to reach out to any of us anytime. We have worked really hard all summer on a really comprehensive health and safety plan. We have, if you haven't seen our Forward Together video for the new school year, you can check that out. It shows how we're cleaning and the new sanitation products we have in the building. So you can incorporate that into your discussions with your kids if they're worried about germs or health issues. And of course, the nurses are always there. If your child, were to not feel well or needed just a little pep talk or safe place to hang out for a little bit, we're there for them. The start of this school year is like no other school year. This isn't what any of us are used to. and we have a lot of unanswered questions still. We hope to get those answers as much as we can, but we all try to remain calm and present a calm front to, to our students. And as parents, you can join us in that calm front to support your kids and let them know that they're safe and that we're all going to get through this school year together. So in closing, I have another little poem for you. And hopefully this is Peggy Ann on her way to school after she and her family built their anxiety toolbox, and she doesn't need to hide in bed on the weekday mornings and come up with 20,000 symptoms and reasons that she can't come to school, or come visit Nurse Holly and want to get sent home with her symptoms. So here's her poem now. See me skip, see me run, I'm going to like everyone. See me smile, see me grin when the teacher calls me in. See me work, see me play, I'm in school. Hip, hip, hooray. So thank you for entertaining me tonight. These are, again, the references that I mentioned in my presentation. I would be happy to email them out individually to any of you if you need them or have any questions. You can find my email on the school website. And hopefully I will see some of you soon.
Thank you, Nurse Holly.
Thank you.
We appreciate you spending time with us tonight. I know, like you as well and myself with kids, we're all feeling a whole host of emotions as well. I know the one slide that you put up that had like 7 or 8 different, I think, behaviors that one would feel if they're feeling anxious. I think between my kids and I, we felt them all in the past 48 hours. So it's kind of validating a little bit to know that it's normal in a lot of ways, because
Right.
it's such a unique situation. We always feel that going into a new school year anyway, but this even more so. So thank you for sharing that with us. And just a little plug here, next month we'll be in our virtual parent series, we'll be focusing on digital citizenship. So be on the lookout for information regarding that topic next month. And in the meantime, we wish you all the best of luck next week. School starts next Tuesday, September 8th. And we'll be here to support, as we always have. Like Holly said, that if you're having any concerns or questions, please reach out to the nurses, the counselors, administrators, even your child's teachers. If you're feeling like you need a little extra support for you and your child as they transition to the remote learning portion of our school year. So thank you all again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon in person.